Hello and welcome everyone. Melissa here from Endo Empowered, and today I thought I would talk about diet and particularly the Endo diet and whether it's really such a good idea to follow a diet at all when it comes to endometriosis. So I have been chatting to a few women this week because we're just coming out with our new food adventure series, which I'm super excited about. And with that, I decided to talk to some women to find out where they're at within their journey and what's going on for them when it comes to changing their diet, what are they eating, and how are they finding that experience with endometriosis. One of the things that really came up was this whole idea of do I need to follow a gluten-free, sugar-free, dairy-free diet for the rest of my life? And the whole concept around really restricting what we eat. And the thing that really came up for this was really a lot of anxiety around it, really feeling restricted. A lot of the mental aspects around diet really came up for a lot of women. Finding that the minute you say you can't have something, like when we say we can't have a certain food, then we feel this urge to have it more. And so I wanted to address this and share some insights with everybody because obviously not everyone was able to attend those one-on-one calls with me. So I wanted to share some insights with you today. The first is really that it comes down to how we look at our food. And rather than looking at food as a way to control endometriosis, we really want to shift our mindset towards how foods can nourish the body. And just energetically, when I say that, I think you'll find that it feels quite different. When we feel restricted, we want to rebel quite often. I know I do. Don't like being told what to do, don't like being told I can't do something. When I get told that, I just want to do it more. The other thing that happens is that we feel a certain anxiety around that. So, particularly if you go out, if you want to meet up with friends, if you want to go to a restaurant, there's a lot of anxiety that comes with those experiences because we almost know that it's going to be very difficult to find foods that are gluten-free, sugar-free, dairy-free, soy-free, etc. And the focus becomes all about avoiding those foods. So really, it's about being mindful of how you look at those foods and also shifting how you perceive those foods. For me, what I like to look at is this food nourishing my body or is it taking away from my body? And that's really your first point of call is shifting towards a mindset of nourishment versus avoidance. You can see how that feels quite different. When we nourish, we are looking out for the foods that provide, that have a lot of minerals, nutrients, phytonutrients, etc. in our food. When we're avoiding, it's a mindset around, oh, I can't, I can't, I can't. And so often what I see is that women actually restrict the diet more and more and more and more. So it gets to the point where it's like literally there is hardly anything left in the diet, very restrictive. And you can imagine that there wouldn't be a huge amount of nourishment going on in that kind of diet, especially if you're doing a very repetitive diet. So if you're eating the same thing every day, same thing for breakfast, same thing for lunch, same thing for dinner, there's not a huge nutritional profile in that. So it's very likely that you're going to become deficient in some of the key things that your body needs. And then we run on empty. Then the body doesn't function as well. It's kind of like, if I gave you, let's say you had a flat tire and I said, okay, we need to go and change the tire, but I'm just going to give you a screwdriver. So I'm not going to give you any other tools so that you can actually go and replace your tire. So you're not going to get, I don't really know about changing tires, but you're not going to get the thing that lifts up the car. You're not going to get the bolt thing. You're not going to get anything. All you're getting is a screwdriver. Now, you will make do. You will try and figure it out and you'll do your best to try and get the tire replaced. But your body is doing the same thing. So it will make do with whatever nutrients are currently available. And I like to call the nutrients in your body are kind of like describing the tools that we would use. So, in that analogy, if you suddenly got given all the possible tools that you could need for replacing a tire, everything, like I gave you a plethora of things to choose from, your likelihood of actually replacing that tire would be very easy. It would be faster. And you would feel like, yes, I know exactly how to do this because I have everything available to me. And that's the same concept I really want to share when it comes to using food as medicine. It's not eat this way equals this result. That's not actually how it works. How it works is we provide a whole plethora of amazing nutritionally dense foods and specifically foods that really target reducing inflammation and really target reducing endometriosis. And we do that and then the body goes, yay, I have all the tools I need and I can finally actually heal. I can actually do the job of fixing myself or, as the example goes, fixing the tire. So it's quite a different way of looking at things. You can sort of get results with the avoidance method, which a lot of women use, and that's largely the focus has been when it comes to the Endo diet is very much an avoidance approach. But personally, I think you're far better off with a nourishment approach and shifting the mindset towards how do I truly nourish my body? Now, one of the questions that I get asked a lot is, well, if I, cut out gluten, dairy, sugar, blah, 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 it feels like a lot of things. And do I have to cut out these things for the rest of my life? It makes it very challenging to go out, makes it very challenging to socialize. Do I have to do this forever? Here's the thing I guess I need to explain about how you go about actually supporting your body. At the moment, let's imagine that there is a scaling of the level of pain and symptoms and endo growths, etc., that are going on in your body. And we're going to rate that out of 10. So, it really comes down to inflammation. That's really what endometriosis is about. It's just a heightened inflammation. So it's not a hormone-based condition. It's inflammatory condition. There's a lot of inflammation, unnecessary inflammation, which is triggering those endo growths, triggering the cysts, triggering the adhesions, etc. So let's just imagine that we're going to rate that on a scale. So from 0 to 10, 10 being the highest. So at the moment, maybe your endo is sitting around that 9 or 10 mark. So it's really, really sore, really, really bad, heavy periods, clotting, lots of things going on. Now, when women go on the Endo diet, they often can reduce that pain level down to, say, a 7 or maybe an 8. And that's fantastic. You have managed to reduce some of that pain. But there is still inflammation going on in the body. And that inflammation can be caused by lots of different things. So it isn't just diet, like that is a big part of it, but there's lots of other factors that trigger inflammation. Stress is one of the biggest ones. So when you feel anxiety around food, you're actually creating more stress in the body, which is driving up that inflammation anyway. Other things that may be attributing to inflammation is gut imbalances. If, there's toxins in the body, generally, I find the biggest part is our mind, our thinking, what we believe. Those things are actually triggering more inflammation than most of the physical things. So we want to work on a holistic approach. We want to look at all the aspects of your current environment and really encourage that lowering of that inflammation. The other thing we want to do is we really want to nourish the body with anti-inflammatory foods. We want to source out the foods from around the world that can allow us to do that. We want to focus on foods that specifically target endo. And we're going to cover all of this in our fabulous food adventure series that's coming out. So if you'd like that, let us know. Pop a comment down below. I'll pop a link up in the top here somewhere as well if you'd like to know more about that. Now, here's where it gets interesting. So when we focus on nourishing foods and we focus on anti-inflammatory foods and we really look at how we nourish the body and we give the body all the tools that it needs to heal, it can do that more effectively. So it's no longer running on empty. You're giving your body the better fuel to actually do what it wants to do. Now, when we do that, we take that same scaling and we lower that level of inflammation down to a 2, maybe a 3 out of 10. Okay, so it's way, way down and you're not experiencing that same intensity of period pain. Maybe you have it every now and again, or, maybe when you're particularly stressed, it might go up. That's where you really want to be sitting. Even lower, if we can get it down to 0, that's ultimately where we want to be. But let's just say we get it down to a 2 out of 10. Now, if you then have a little bit of gluten, it might push up that inflammation up to a 3 out of 10. If you maybe have a little bit of dairy, might come up to a 3 out of 10. Or maybe you're having a particularly stressful time at work or relationship or whatever, it might come up to a 3 out of 10. Now, if your starting point is down to a 2 out of 10, well, obviously you've got a lot more wiggle room in terms of what you can incorporate back into your life or what your body can cope with. So having a little bit of sugar, having a little bit of gluten, having a little bit of dairy at that point in your journey is not going to affect you so much. You're not going to feel completely bowled over by that pain because you've lowered inflammation to such a degree that it's no longer so high. And so this is why if you're still way up here, so if you're still at an 8 out of 10 and you have a bit of gluten, it's going to spike. It's going to go up to the 9 or the 10 again. And you're going to be like, oh, this is painful. This is horrible. I can't have gluten. But if you've worked on your body, you've worked on your mindset, you've corrected the gut imbalances, you've supported your liver, you've got rid of toxins, you've done a whole lot of stuff with me, happy to help you through it, and you've brought that down to 2 out of 10, well, then, of course, you're going to have a lot more wiggle room to play with. And you're going to be able to cope better with stress because you're not going to be putting so much burden on the body at that time. So really, this is the key concept I wanted to share with you today because I think there's so much confusion and so much anxiety actually around this endo diet that everyone's so adamant they've got to follow 100%. I don't follow it 100%. I don't even follow an endo diet. I focus on really nourishing my body. And that's why we have the reach technique. It's replenish. It's not called diet. It's not called that for a reason. It's called replenish. Let's replenish your body. Get it working well. Give it everything that it needs. And yes, we want to avoid some of those foods in the beginning because those things drive inflammation up. And inflammation is not your friend. It's the one that causes the pain and all those symptoms that we talked about. So replenish first, exercise. Affirm is all about your mindset and shifting some of those stresses, shifting some of that anxiety and where that anxiety is coming from. And then C is cleanse. And H is support and help. So getting you through that journey. The first step is shifting your diet. So come and join us on the Adventure series. It's going to be so much fun. We've got 3 different options for you to choose from. There's economy class, business class, and first class. I will let you know if you at this stage is not ready, but if you're watching this and you're really keen to be part of that, write to us at support@endoempowered.com. Leave a comment. I'll be happy to share the details with you. Excited for your journey going forward and know that there is a way forward. There is hope and you can feel better. You can get your life back. Thank you so much for watching.